So my name is Dirk Ahlborn, and I'm the CEO and founder of Hyperloop Transportation Technologies. Who here knows what the Hyperloop really is? But it all dates back to this guy, right? So Elon Musk, he presented this project back in 2013, actually. And we started right after that. So maybe let me move forward with the presentation. I just jumped back. All right, here you go. So what is a Hyperloop? Imagine a capsule filled with people that's hovering inside a tube and moving really, really fast from one point to the other. Inside this tube, we create a low pressure environment. So basically we have vacuum pumps that take all the air out so that now the capsule can move much faster with much less energy. It basically moves right below the speed of sound. Sounds amazing, doesn't it? So, and the whole system is completely green. It uses alternative energy. We use solar, wind, kinetic energy through regenerative braking to, depending on the route, of course, produce ideally more energy than we consume. So basically along the same right-of-way, on top we have solar panels, for example, and this is a huge advantage. Why? Because when we looked at if this is even doable, we looked at the economics, and we found out something that surprised me a lot. There's actually no railway, no train, no metro in the whole world that's profitable. They're all relying heavily on government subsidies. The Hyperloop, because remember, it uses much less energy and it produces its own and it's automated, has very low operational cost and can be profitable in a very short time span. And that's something you haven't seen so far. We have return of investment somewhere from 8 to 12 years. So it's really amazing. So, but why? Why should we care what people call the fifth mode of transportation? So this is why. Traffic. And I know you know this because I was late. It's not only something that we see in China or in LA. Paris definitely has a lot of it, right? We spend a lot of time in traffic, a lot of time that we could be productive, but maybe more importantly, could be with the people we care about. Actually, traffic is so important that based on where we live, we decide where we work, right? If you think about it. And, well, where I live in Los Angeles, you even decide who you date, because if she lives on the other side of the city, it's not going to work out. Well, and then we have Beijing on a sunny day. On a bad day, you can't even see your hand in front of your face. So most people think that pollution is a problem that you only have in China or in India. But in real, it's something that regards all of us. You, living here in Europe, are losing roughly 15 months of your life thanks to pollution. Now, of course, transportation is only part of that, but it's important enough that politicians around the world are now creating new regulations to move transportation into a much greener alternative. Well, and then we have the railroad industries. They're literally what we call a dinosaur industry, right? They haven't changed much. They're still the same. If you think about it, they're basically the same as 100 years ago. So these are normal railroad tracks. The distance between these two is 1 meter 43.5. Anybody here knows why? Why 1 meter 43.5?
Something to do with Roman chariots, I think.
Exactly, it's the Roman chariots. Good job. So basically, imagine this. It's 2018 and we're building new infrastructure today based on the butt of 2 horses. This is how much innovation we have done. I think we can do better, right? And then, as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't make economic sense. Think about it, there were actually a lot of people that got really, really rich by building railroads. But today, this is an example of the Los Angeles Metro. They're making 76 cents per passenger, and $2.50 are coming from taxpayer money. Now you can say, of course, everybody in LA is sitting in the cars, that's why the Metro doesn't make any money, and that's why you're all in traffic, and that's true. But even New York, for example, which is definitely one of the most used metros in the world, loses 82 cents per passenger, which comes out to $2.2 billion every single year. Germany subsidizes their rail network with roughly 22 billion euros. And believe me, France is definitely more. Because you guys have better trains, right? So how would our lives change? I think I need to move away from the speaker. Well, another problem we have are airports. We're building more and more of them, right? I mean, how many do you have here in Paris?
2.
You're not sure? Point of views. Okay, awesome. But imagine you could connect them, right? And they would actually become one big airport. They would become terminals. Or you could build new ones much further out. Hundreds of kilometers and still be there within minutes. So, you wouldn't be bothered by the planes that are coming in. When we talk about freight, it enables us to move goods from China to Europe within hours rather than within weeks. So imagine the Silk Road project that they're talking about, but using a Hyperloop. We wouldn't have those ships anymore on the oceans, which is, by the way, not that great for the environment. And it enables us to literally create an on-demand economy. Deliver freight within an hour anywhere. But most people get excited to work in one place and live in another. You work in Paris, you live in Nice, or Saint-Tropez, maybe it's a little bit more fun, right? So that's what people get excited about. Rather than spending millions of dollars here, or where I live, you have to spend literally a couple of million if you don't want to risk to be shot in the front yard. So you can buy something much cheaper and have a much better quality of life. This is what the Hyperloop does for us. So how are we doing it? So it turns out, there was a video here that doesn't work. And basically what the video says is that we have all these amazing partners that are doing, and they have already the expertise, and I'm going to go into this a little bit after, because at the end this is a little bit about future work. And we're doing this in a very unique way. So when we looked into the Hyperloop, we found out that the technology wasn't an issue. The technology was already there. We have been using it for quite some time. We know how to levitate a train. We know how to move a train. We know how to build pylons, build tubes, create a vacuum inside a tube. This is a picture of the CERN particle accelerator in Geneva. And the vacuum inside those tubes is actually 100,000 times more difficult to maintain than ours. And the company responsible for the vacuum, well, they're actually part of our team. Alternative energy is a safe bet. It's kind of like the silicon chip. It's getting better and better and cheaper every single year. So today we know that we can cover our complete energy cost with the latest solar technology in California. And tomorrow that's going to be cheaper and, even more important, much, much better. But we do something else completely different. We built a company in a completely different way. So you see, when I started, I was part of a non-profit incubator that was funded by NASA. And, well, I came up with a new way of how businesses should get started. So think about it. We do everything online. You get your groceries online, you can get your dry cleaning online, you can find your boyfriend, girlfriend online. In the US, you can even get divorced online. But when it comes to building a business, it's still you with a friend, sitting somewhere, probably here in a cafe, talking about all these big problems that you need to solve. You start working on it, 6 months later you realize that only you had those problems. Or maybe you realize that advertising isn't the best way of making money, right? Because you actually need millions of users. But how about if you would have 10, 100, 1,000 people that are passionate about the same thing you are, that give you their honest opinion, their ideas, their contacts, you could build a better company. So we did this. We tried to build a platform to bring these people together. And when Elon Musk came out and said, hey, here is the idea for the Hyperloop, but I'm too busy with Tesla and SpaceX, I would like someone else to pick it up, I thought this was a perfect fit. We should try it out. So we asked for permission to put it on the platform and ask our community, should we be doing this? And not only did they say, yes, you should be doing this, but they actually said, hey, I want to be part of this. So we incorporated the company, got a small team together and said, everybody who would like to join and work in exchange for stock options in the company with a minimum of 10 hours per week, please apply. We got around 200 applications, a team of around 100 engineers, and started working on the feasibility study. Today, we have over 800 people all around the world, in addition to roughly 50 companies. We get 5 new applications every single day. To be honest with you, we're figuring out how to scale even further, because that's important. And it's amazing. So who here actually has a company? Are there any startup guys or CEOs or anybody running something? No? 1, 2, 3, 4. Who here wants to run a company? A couple more, okay. You all, I heard that labor law in France is great. You have a lot of vacation, 35 hours a week, so I get it. But, if you're the CEO of a company, knowing that your people are showing up to work, even if you don't have the money in the bank anymore, is amazing. Building a startup company is not easy. So I've done this my whole life, and I always felt like if I hired people like you, the wagon that I was pulling was getting actually much heavier. Now, I have people actually that are pushing behind. They want to do this as well. They're there. So this is where we are right now. And it's amazing, it allows us to look into a lot of different areas. And all of these companies that are part of what we're doing are, they're not just some small companies, they're leaders in the field. So Atkins, for example, construction engineering, they're one of the leading engineering firms in the world. Caburs, manufacturers for Boeing and Airbus. Leybold, the company that you saw earlier, they're the inventor of the vacuum pump several hundred years ago. I don't need to hire someone who knows about vacuum. I have over 30 people that do vacuum every day. The guy that invented the latest pump is on the team. That's amazing, and that really makes a difference. So we see this a little bit as, I call them 25% entrepreneurs, right? So the future of work. In my opinion, in the future, you're not going to work just for one company, you're going to be working for several companies. And in some of them, you might be getting paid. In others, you might be getting stock. I think that's amazing. You're going to be working on the things that you're passionate about, that you're good at. And of course, someone needs to do the stuff that nobody wants to do as well, but that's kind of part of it as well, right? Makes it fun. All right, but let's go back to the Hyperloop. So most people always ask, when? When are we going to see this? So it took us 5 years. Again, the technology is already there. And we're now ready to build. Actually, we started, partially at least, and over the last 5 years we have been licensing technologies, filed patents, done deals around the world, so we were very, very busy. We just started manufacturing last year of the first passenger Hyperloop capsule in the world. So it's being manufactured right now at Caburs in Spain, and we were just talking about it, nobody works in August. So it's going to be either ready end of July or in September. So that's the world's first Hyperloop capsule. Besides that, we have been working with governments around the world, because the biggest hurdle, I'm standing here and telling you we're building this new mode of transportation and people are working for free or better for stock options. Technology is already there, so why hasn't anybody done this? Well, there's actually one part that's very, very complicated and very difficult, and that's regulation. It's not a train and it's not an airplane. So we need to build a completely new set of rules and laws. But luckily, because we're using our movement, right, remember, those people that are passionate and that join us, we're not a normal company. I call ourselves local. We're global and we're local. We have offices in LA, in Barcelona, in Slovakia, in the Emirates, in Brazil, and we have our R&D center in Toulouse that you might have heard about, that we're building out right now. So we've been working with governments around the world that were pushed by people like you to work together with us. We're doing feasibility studies. We're working on the safety regulations. We have our partners, for example, Munich Re, one of the largest reinsurance company in the world, that's saying that they can insure our system, which is important to commercialize the system, to move this forward. So here, these are all the different countries that we're doing something in. And there's Toulouse. So France, actually, and I must say I was maybe a little bit surprised, but also very happy because France was very proactive in helping us being here and really supporting innovation. So in Toulouse, what we're doing is two things. We're having our R&D team. We're now building our tracks. The capsule is going to go there. Towards the end of the year, you will see the first progress actually there, and we're building 2 lines there. The capsule is going to go there first for integration into the system before going on the first commercial line. There was a video, really cool one, about Toulouse. You can see it online. And now we're moving forward. We're moving into the commercialization of the system. Abu Dhabi, we announced in Abu Dhabi and Al Ghadir the first 10 kilometers of the first commercial system. So these are used to create literally these necessary legal frameworks in the different countries. And we just announced the Ukraine, I think last week, or 2 weeks ago. And there's more to come. You will hear actually a lot. So that's the most important part. That's now, it's not something that you hear about, it's in the future, it's science fiction. It's something that's coming now. And the Emirates, of course, is going to be one of the first places, but I actually believe France has a very, very important part in this. And even so, just so you realize, this will still take a while. You know, building a commercial system, doing the regulatory frameworks, this still takes years. But it just shows what a bunch of people that are passionate about the same thing can do. And I actually always say, we have the unique opportunity to build something the way we talk about transportation, the way it should be done in 2018, right? Because everybody here knows travel sucks. It's terrible. We don't enjoy traveling, right? We enjoy getting to destination. But we can do better. So it's not only about the capsule inside the tube, it's about everything. How do we pay for it? What is the business model behind transportation? How's the experience going to look like? You know? And all of these things, because we are working in this unique environment, are things that you're going to see from us. So we started 5 years ago. A lot of people said, it's not possible, you can't do this. This is kind of the answer we're giving to those guys. And I would say that if someone tells you that it can't be done, it just means that they haven't figured it out. It doesn't mean that you can figure it out. You need to question everything, right? We heard. To really push it, to get to the next steps, to change the status quo, change the way we live, change the way we work, and more importantly, have a lot of fun on the way. So 3 years until you and me can ride inside the Hyperloop. You're going to have to sign a waiver, and until we have, the insurance and everything in place. But of course, you're all invited. Thank you.